Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel Code for Tech Solutions. Today in this video we are going to cover a very interesting topic. So in our today's video we are going to cover how to implement JWT authentication and authorization using the Django Rest Framework in Python. So we are going to see how we can implement JSON Web Token in Python using the Django Rest Framework. So let us see what are all prerequisites for this. Like first we need to install Python on our system, and if you have not installed you can refer this video which will guide you on how to install Python on Windows. Next you need to install Django. It's a framework for web development in Python. You can use this pip command to install this. Next we need to install Django Rest Framework. It's a web framework which will help us to create and build REST APIs in Python web development. And next we need to add this JWT library, which is a Django REST Framework simple JWT. This is the authentication library, JWT authentication library we need to install. So these are all prerequisites and libraries we should be ready with to create this application. Please do not forget to like, subscribe and share, because at the end of the video you will forget to subscribe. So without any further ado, so let us jump into the coding part. So we are going to implement it from scratch. Let us see. So first of all, we are going to create our virtual environment. So this is the command, and here you can name your virtual environment. You can give any name. So this command will create a virtual environment for us. If you want to know more detail on virtual environment, I have created a dedicated video on that, so you can refer that. So you can see the virtual environment is created. In the left pane you can see in which we are going to install all the libraries. So once you install the libraries, that will get added inside this lib. Fine. Now let us install the dependencies for our today's project. First of all, we need to activate this virtual environment. For that, we need to go to virtual environment folder, and inside scripts, we can use this activate for Windows. So we can see this virtual environment prompt is appearing. That means it is activated. And now we need to install the dependencies which are required for this. Now we need to install Django first, Django Rest Framework next, and Django Rest Framework we can use simple JWT. So this is the simple JWT. Okay. So these are some libraries we need to install. So it will take few seconds to install. Till the time we can wait. So once the installation is complete, it will show inside this lib folder. We have this pip and all. So now you can see Django is there. So similar way, it will add Django REST framework and this JWT authentication library as well. So virtual environment, it's like a project specific library we can install inside this environment. Means like instead of using the global installation, we can create a virtual environment so that we will have the dependencies specific to the project. Now we have installed everything. If you want to check, you can use inside the lib, or you can use this pip list command, which will show you what all things are installed as a library. Now next thing, we can create our Django project. So let us create that using command Django admin start project, and here we can name our project. So let us say the name of the project, so like JWT, or we can say auth service, or we can say JWT service. Okay, now we can see here it has created the project folders successfully, along with the all the default files and folders, and including the manage.python file. Fine. Next thing what we can do, we need to create one application inside this. For that we need to go to the project folder first, and we can use this command python manage.py, and we can use this start app, and here we can give our application name. You can give any name, so I will give API, so wherein all our REST API will reside. So this is the API folder wherein we are going to keep all our REST APIs. Fine. Now next thing what we can do, like we need to add the configuration part in settings. So this is our project folder. Let me collapse this virtual environment, and this is our project folder, this is the application, this is the project folder. Now let us go to the settings.py file, and herein we need to add some entries inside the installed apps. So like first we need to add REST framework, which we have just added as a library. Next we need to add REST framework, and here we can say simple JWT, which we have added. And next we need to add our application entry as well, which is API in our case. Fine. Now next, like as we are going to use JWT authentication, so we need to configure that somewhere in this file. Okay, so for that let me copy some lines, and we can add it here. So what it will do, like this is the default authentication class we are using. Like this is, we are telling our application to use this JWT authentication as an authentication class, and we need to use permission for we need to check whether it is authenticated, then only we are going to allow to access the endpoint in our application. Okay, so this is the default permissions, and this is the default authentication class it should use throughout the application. Right. Now we can save it. Now let us go to our API. Next thing what we can do, we need to create our model part. So let us do that. So first of all we can clear everything. Now here we can use, or we can keep the first line which is as is. Now here we can import from Django, and we can use config dot auth dot models we can use, and we can import abstract user. We can directly make use of the user which is available, but we are going to create some custom user. We can name it like profile user, and here we can pass this abstract user. That's it. And if you want to add something at here, some custom fields, you can add it at here. This is a placeholder, we can save it. Fine. So what we have done, we have created this profile user for us as a model, uh, okay, fine. And we have used, it is using abstract user, which is a class available inside this Django auth model. Next thing, we are going to create a serializer. Now let us do that. We can create one serializer file, serializers.py, and here we need to first import from Django like contrib, and here is our auth dot, from auth we are going to import user underscore model. So get user model. Next thing, like we are going to use import from REST framework, and we are going to import serializers. And next we can, first of all, we can use create one user class which will be getting user from this get user model. Next we can create one class with name profile serializer, and here it is taking the serializer from this serializers option which is available in REST framework. We can use model serializer. Next we can use class meta, and here inside below that we can mention what model we are going to use, which is like user, which we have mentioned it here. Next thing what we can do, like we are going to use fields, and for fields like we need to mention what all field we are going to use. Like first is ID, next is a username, next is a email, and next we can add as a password. That's it. So we have mentioned what all fields we are going to use. Now we need to add one more thing, like extra keywords arguments we need to add. For that, here we can mention first password, and for password we are going to add one attribute like write only, and for this we are going to make it as a true. Fine. So we have mentioned the model and what all fields, and these are the key extra keyword arguments. Now next thing what we can do, we need to define one create method so that it will allow us to create a new user, and here we can add some validated data for that self, and next validated data. Now here we can define one user variable which will collect all the what all like what all there from as an objects, and here we can call create user. So inside user we are accessing objects, and we are calling create user, and here we are passing this like validated data and what all things we need to validate. So first is a username. Now we need to copy this. Similar way we need to validate for email, and here is our password. Fine. Now finally what we can do, we can simply return our user, which we will get it here. So this method will create a new user for us, and we have successfully validated this before we create the user. Fine. Now next thing we need to configure the URLs. Like first we need to configure the application specific URL, and next we need to configure project specific URLs. Okay, so first we can create one urls.python file, inside which we need to import from django.urls. We can use path, and here we can use so before we configure, we have not created views, so let us do that. So first let us create a view. So here is our view part. So first of all we need to import for the views, so we can use REST framework, and we can import generics. So generics we have imported. Next thing, like we can import from our simple JWT. From that we need to take tokens, and here we are going to import refresh token. Next we need to import serializer, which we have created, profile serializer. Next we are going to import the response. Next we are going to add some permission related stuff. So permissions, let it be, so whenever we require we will see that. Now next thing, like API view, we need to import from the REST framework dot views, and let us create our actual class, view class for this one. Okay, so first of all, for authentication we can create, for registration first we cover the register, and for that we can create one class, and we can give name like a register user view, and we can use generics dot create API view, and here we can use like what is the serializer class, and in our case it's a profile serializer. Okay. Now similar way we can use one class for login, and here we can create one class custom token, or we can give like a login user view, and here we can add token obtain pair view, and here we can add some custom logic or fields for the login user view if you want to do that. Now we need to add import for this one. Okay, we need to take from like simple JWT, we need to import. Inside this we have views, and we can import like token obtain pair view, and we need to add one more thing, token refresh view. That's it. Now this is for login, and this is for registration. Similar way, if we want, we can add different classes for the views, so we can save it. Now let us do the URL configuration part. By now we have created model, serializer, and view, so this is the view part. Okay, fine. Now let us configure the URLs inside this application. Here we can import from views, and we can import our what all things views we require. First register view, next login user view, and next we have created whatever. So if this much is enough, because we have created only two. Now next thing, like we need to import from JWT token, like we are going to use refresh views, so we need to import that as well, like token refresh view. Okay, this much, fine. Now we need to create the URL patterns array, and inside that we can add what all endpoints we are going to mention. Like first is the register, and here we need to add the respective view class for that. Now in our case, first is a register user view we are going to use, and here we can call as underscore view. This is a function. Next we can give some name, like here we can say it is for register. Fine. So this line, like we have included the endpoint and and mentioned which view it should point to. Similar way, we can add one login URL, and here we can use our login user view, and here we can give a name like it's for login. Similar way, we can add for token refresh and token creation, like this is the token, and can say token refresh, and here we can use token refresh view. Fine. And here we can give name like token refresh. Fine. So we have added the path which we need, and we have successfully added application level URLs. Now similar way, we need to configure the project URLs. So let us go to the project URLs set here, and we need to add our project one more entry which will include our API related URLs. Now here we can configure API, and here we need to include our API.urls, and here we need to add import for include. You can save it. Seems good. Here is the extra bracket, we can remove it. Seems good. Now we have successfully configured the URLs, and with this we are done with all our coding. Now what we can do, like by now we have created all these things. Now let us check our endpoints. Like this is the register, this is the login, and this is the token. Okay. Now we need to create one more thing, like we need to create one protected view. Like once we register a user, then it will log in, then it will access the token, and using that token it should access the protected view. For that we need to create one protected view, so that it will complete the cycle of all these things, all these endpoints. So first of all, we need to go to the protected view at here, and here we can say this is the protected view. Now let us create one class, and we can give a name like it's a protected view, and here we can use API view. And here we are going to use permission classes, and then here we are going to use is authenticated, and for this we need to import. Now let us check from so we can import from REST framework dot permissions, and we can import is authenticated. Seems good. Now to access this protected view, it will first check whether it is an authenticated user, then only it will allow to access the protected user. Let us create one get method. Inside this we are going to add self. Next we are going to add request, and here we are going to return a response, and inside that we are going to mention one message, and it will return like this is a protected resource. This is a protected resource. Seems good. Now we have successfully created a protected view. Now for this we need to configure inside the URLs as well. So let us do that in our application URLs. We need to add one protected view as well. So we can add, here we can use like protected. So here this is the protected endpoint, and here we can give our protected view, and we need to add the protected view as well as it here, or we can copy that view. First we need to save it. We can copy, and this is our view, and here we can give the name as a protected. Okay, so this protected view we need to import from our views, not it here. So this is the protected view. Seems good. So we have covered everything, like this is for a new user will register. Next it will log in with the registered credentials, and here it will create a token after login, and with that token we can access the protected view. That's it. So it is a complete flow or complete cycle we will create, so that there will not the means uh, there will not be left anything as such. Fine. So next thing what we can do, now we are done with all the configurations and all these things. Now let us migrate our application, so that it will create database related stuff. Now let me show you in settings.xml. By default it is using uh, database part, which is like so this is database, and this is SQLite key, which is it is using as a default one. Okay. So one more thing we need to add inside our settings.xml, as we have created our user model. Okay. So here we need to, do not forget to add this entry like auth. We can use user, and here we can give capital letters model, and here we can mention API dot our username, which is a profile user, which we have created as a model. So make sure you add this entry. Okay, fine. Now finally we need to migrate this to the database, and we can use command python manage.py and make migrations. This is the command with which it will prepare the migration files, and we can see it has created this db.sqlite file, and now to complete the actual migration we need to use one more command, which is migrate. With this command it will create database related tables and all for this authentication. Fine. Now final command we can use, like we need to run our application using command python manage.py, and this is the run server we can use. Okay, fine. Now here what we can do, like we can see start, it has started the development server. Now we can access this URL from here. Okay, so first of all, we can access now. How we can access the endpoints? Like first, we can go to URLs, and this is the API. It we should start with, and here we have mentioned the register, login, all these endpoints. Now, first thing, what we need to first register our user. Like this is the API, and here we can use the register part. Now it is authentication credentials were not provided. Now for any user to register, we should not check whether it is authenticated or not. So for that reason, we should remove the authentication part for register purpose, or we need to add some extra setting. Now if you go it here, you can see it is this is the authentication class is applicable for all the methods, and it is checking is authenticated. Now let us do one thing. We can add we should go to the views part at here, and here for registration we can add one more class, like permission classes we can add, and here we can add, like we can keep empty, or we can allow any, so that it should not check for authentication for registration. This is the okay, allow any. Now let us import from the permissions set here, and we have added. Now let us check it again, like we have restarted the server. Seems good. Now that error is removed. Now here it is allowing us to add user. Like let us say here we can add some user searching. Here we can add one username, and here we can give some password like Sachin123, and we can click on post button. Now you can see one user is successfully created. Similar way, if you want to create any other user like Kevin, and here we can add password for the Kevin. We can keep it simple for now. Fine. So we have created two users. Now let us log in with, let us check our login part. Like we have created two users. Now let us log in with one of the user. This is the our endpoint for login. Now here we can add Sachin, and here our password for Sachin123. Seems good. It has created the access token for us successfully. That means our login is working fine. Now let us access our uh, this one protected view. So for that we need to use the Postman to access the protected view. Now this is the refresh token, and this is the access token. With this access token we can access the protected view. So I will show you how we can do that. So till the time, please do not forget to subscribe and share, like and share. I have many tabs opened inside Postman. That's why it is taking a bit time. Okay, fine. Now let me close this. Okay. Okay, so we can copy it, and let us try to access it here. This is the git, and this is our protected URL. Okay. Now Here we can choose raw, and here we can use JSON. Now let us see how it works. Now if you directly call it, it will ask for the authentication credentials. Okay, now let me copy this access token from here, and let us check. Now here we need to add in, we need to go to authorization, and here we need to choose bearer token, and here we can add our copied token at here, and let us check now. Seems good. It is giving the access like protected view. It is showing with what message we have set, the same message it is showing. That means we have accessed our protected view using this bearer token. Now let us try to modify this token, or we are going to provide incorrect token and check. So it is giving the access token is invalid, which means this is successful, because it will only the resource will get accessed only when the access token is valid. That's it. Now if you want to create something like username, register the user, you can you can use from, I will show you how you can do this from Postman. Like let's say this is test user 1234, you can use it. So for registering, you can register from the Postman, and if you want to log in from the Postman, like this is the test user 1 and password 1234. Okay, for login, here we can use test user 1 and password, or we can copy it from here, and we can remove this email part which is not needed for the login body. Yes, we can see it has created the access token successfully for this one, or we can copy it. Now later we have seen how we can access the token like protected view using this token, that we have already covered. So I hope you must have enjoyed this. So please do not forget to like, subscribe and share. Thank you so much for watching this.